religion. A lot of people always ask me whether I believe in God. I once asked Einstein that question, do you believe in God? And he said, which one? The Jewish guy's God says, if a man takes your son's eye out, you take his son's eye out. Call an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. The Christian God says, when a man strikes you, turn the other cheek. So all these gods are so different. I believe that most gods were made by man in his image. He's a kind of an uneducated person who gets angry, creates floods, disease, and if you don't follow the biblical teachings, all of them, you burn in hell eternally. This doesn't sound like God. It sounds like a psychopath. I've never found a God that wasn't like the people that created it. They create God in their own image. He makes a man and a woman, and then he creates a tempter to tempt them to do other. This doesn't sound like God. This is a man-made fairy tale. That's terrible. Now, if Noah's Ark existed, it would have to be about a mile long. And where did he get the polar bears from? And how did he stop these animals from eating each other? And how can he build a boat a mile long? The stories in the Bible are so fantastic and ridiculous, I read it as I do the comic strips. I'm so sorry that people have a need for that low-grade substance. In other words, instead of the Bible, if you taught people about sociology, social science, how we depend on plants and agriculture to take care of the earth, to not dump poisons into the ocean. If you don't know this, about 45 years ago, the U.S. Army dumped 65 tons of nerve gas off the coast of Miami. Don't take my word for it. It's available in any book on marine sciences. So you see, you live in a world that's comprised of very ignorant people. They're not born that way. They're made that way by society. Just as a person in the South speaks with a Southern accent, that's what I mean by the influence of environment. When a Southerner says, I'm going to give me a nigger, I'm going to kick his butt, that's picked up from the environment. That is not part of human nature. There is no human nature. Human behavior can be shaped by different cultures to hate different people. And that's what you had in Nazi Germany. That's what you had in any fascist country. You have the control of the military-industrial complex. And that's what your problem is today. We're moving rapidly in the direction of fascism. Politicians do not know how to solve problems. They don't even know what the problem is. They don't even know what questions to ask. Politics is not the answer. And we're going to go continuously downhill with all the other monetary systems unless we utilize more science and technology, and we're not about to do that because the public doesn't even know what science means. It's everything you have in your home that works. The electric light, the washing machine, the electric range, the automobile, the flying machine. Politicians never gave you anything but words. Remember, politicians say things people like to hear. They don't speak the truth. They never did. They'd never get elected if they did. But if you take army men, they talk of national defense, building armament, radar, all kinds of military defense systems. They are comprised of very ignorant men because their main business is killing machines. And soldiers are essentially killing machines. They teach young people how to kill. We would take all the soldiers and teach them to become problem solvers. That's what hurts people. A lack of knowledge, lack of answers, what to do about problems. We never talk about it. It's very easy to say it's human nature. There is no such thing as human nature. That's something made up by people that didn't understand what shaped human behavior. Even serial killers are shaped by a deprived environment. And this is something you have to learn. And they don't teach you in school how to relate to one another, how to get along with each other, how to disagree without getting angry. They don't teach you how to live, find meaning in your own life. They teach you how to be a cog in the production wheel of the monetary system.
What can I do to learn about the house extrusion manufacturing process?
I was familiar with aluminum extrusions and then extrapolated that system into what I would consider the future. In other words, I've watched shipbuilding. When they build ships, they build them in dry dock, and then they flood it with water. And these big, gigantic cranes that are 22 stories high, that's a big crane, and it moves along picking up all the parts of the ship and putting it together. If we built houses in dry dock, apartments, large buildings, hundreds of them at the same time, we can house everybody on Earth in 10 years, wipe out the slums. Because we don't use that kind of technology because of the monetary system. They always say, how much will it cost? That isn't even the question. The real question is, do we have the resources? Yes, we do. In times of war, we make battleships, killing machines, thousands of airplanes. Where does all that money come from right away? We didn't have much money, but we did have resources. So you see, it's the resources that count. If you still don't understand what I'm talking about, if you're stranded on an island with $10 million and gold, if the island has no water, no arable land, and no fish, you have nothing. Money is a nothing thing. It represents nothing but an old value. Our language was designed hundreds of years ago, and we still use ancient language. I say, I'll see you at the size, the takes of direction. We still use a language that was designed so many years ago, it's almost impossible to talk to one another. We talk at each other.
Okay. Let's see, will be archived. Do you believe that global warming is caused by carbon emissions, or is it a lie created to manipulate the public?
I believe it's aided to with carbon emissions. I believe there are many other natural gases coming out of the earth, volcanic gases and forest fires and many other things are involved in global warming. What we have to do is develop a technology to handle tsunamis, earthquakes. We have to design buildings that remain upright or stay sustainable even in a hurricane. If you use an inverted cone, no hurricane or tornado can tear that building apart. An inverted cone will cause the air to whirl around it, but it will not take the roof off. There are many solutions to our problems, thousands of different solutions that are not effectively put in for reasons of economic problems, such as cost and things like that. But we have enough resources to do whatever we want to do. Just picture this. If all the money in the world disappeared tomorrow morning, as long as you have factories, farms, you can feed people. It isn't money that sustains society. It's resources. If you run out of resources, no matter who you elect, even if you elected the most ethical people in the world, if you ran out of resources, be lying, cheating, stealing, and killing. It has nothing to do with ethical people. It has to do with the intelligent management of the Earth's resources.
Okay, let me pull up another one here. By the way, guys, you guys were talking about the headline that Jacque was talking about the United States planning to bomb other countries. Roxanne is right now going up to the house to get the newspaper clipping, and I'm going to show it to you here on the camera. Now, somebody was suggesting, do you think it's important that people start to get all these this technical knowledge, get into studying these things that we need now, before the collapse, so that we'll have that information later?
Yes, that would help a great deal. Study computer sciences, programming, robotics. That's where the future is going, if we get to the future. If we're so stupid as to declare war on other nations and spend most of our energies and waste our lives on war, your society is managed by extremely ignorant people. We won't even make the history books of the future. We're so backward in so many areas, technically. So study science, technology, ways of solving problems.